Here's a neat resource. These books connect poems to reading skills. And I got these just for us to use for summer as something fun and different to try. I really like how they have it set up in here. I used it with all three of my boys at once, so we could just sit down and talk about it and do the exercises together. It's real short, but something different than what we were doing. It does come with a couple of resource CDs that I did not use, but just the exercises in the book I really enjoyed. So it has a short poem, and then it'll have a few things that you can do as the teacher for fluency, comprehension, phonemic awareness, things like that. And then a couple pages of exercises for them to do. They're bright and colorful and just fun little things. So maybe they're working on, list words that have ink at the end, or list words that have this sort of blend at the beginning, or connecting things. So I'll give you a flip through those so that you can see inside what it looks like. I'll show you level 2 and level 3. Time for a real page turner. Poems for building reading skills. I have level 2 and 3 to show you. I'll start with level 2. Both of these books come with 2 resource CDs. One is a teacher resource CD that includes the whiteboard connection, and then the other is an audio CD. And I have not used either, so I can't speak to those. This is the list of poems that are covered in book 2. In the beginning, there's a lot of information about what they've researched and all the different topics that they cover in this program and why they cover them and how they cover them. I did read through all of it, but if you're not into that, feel free to just jump right into the lesson plans here. It's really laid out simple. This first page shows exactly what you're going to do and why you're doing it. So like here for phonemic awareness, you're going to ask students what sound they hear at the beginning of the word summers and have them identify other words in the poem that start with that same sound. Have them name words that have the sound at the end of the word. And then distribute copies of the activity pages, which are right here. So these I photocopy and have my sons use them that way. Then another one is have students identify the position of the S sound in each word by filling in the first or second bubble. And that's for this one on page 18, this activity. Right here, if you ever see slash, letter slash, it means to say the sound and not the letter. So you wouldn't read this S, you would say S in there. And if you're not sure of all the sounds of the letters, that's a great way to start, is look up any video that will show you what the different sounds are, because like D is not duh, it's D. So things like that are really important to know when you're teaching reading to your students. Then we have phonics here. So for this, they're writing the words pool, cool, and rule on a sheet of paper or on the board and figuring out this oo sound and practice spelling them. For vocabulary, they're defining the word rule. Are there any other definitions that they're familiar with? And then discuss with students the phrase teachers rule. How do teachers rule, and who rules during the summertime? So really good how they're digging into the meaning behind it too. Fluency, you're going to assign it. Now this, you could do it as a classroom too. It explains how to do it that way, but I've just done it at home with my sons for homeschool and taking turns reading the poem. We'll go through it and, I'll read 2 lines, then the next kid will read 2 lines, the next kid will read 2 lines, and then we'll rotate. So then I'll have somebody else start and we go through. Or they can read it back and forth to each other, or we just take turns reading the whole thing. So anything like that can help. Comprehension, they've got an activity for that where you fold the paper in half. One half you label summer, the other half school, and discuss activities that they participate in for different things, for those different times of the year. And then here for these 2 activity pages, this one, you're putting this in the first bubble if it starts at the beginning, or putting it in the last bubble if it ends with that, like here. On this side, it's word building. So here, words with ool, and they'll just make a list. Words with ook, and make a list. And then words about summer fun, whatever they want. And then here it's a fill in the blank from this word bank. So read the sentence and fill in the word. And every lesson is set up just like that. They'll have a few activities you can do at the beginning, all together, the poem, and then 2 activity pages. So I'm going to flip through this just so you can kind of see what some of the pictures and activities might look like. Here they're covering even periods, question marks, and exclamation points. Here, change the letter to make the beginning sound to write a new word. I love how there's variety in it, but they're simple. It's really quick to go through a lesson with this. And so this has been, we've done book 3, but it's been a fun, different thing to do for our summertime. And now for level 3, so that you can see the difference. Here are the list of poems for this level. The only one that I noticed that could be something that somebody might want to skip would be the Halloween poem, and it would be no problem at all to skip that and just go on to a different poem. Okay, so for example, we're just going to turn to lesson 7. Again, it's broken down by Phonemic Awareness, Phonics, Vocabulary, Fluency, Comprehension, and then there is a word study extension. So for Phonemic Awareness, you will tell the students that you'll say a sound and a word. Ask them to tell you the new word that's made when you add the sound to the beginning. Tell students to add g to low, and they should respond with glow. Continue with these words below. Then for phonics, ask students to name beginning sounds that they hear in the word spaceship. They should respond with s and p. Ask them to name other words that begin with the sp spelling pattern, like spit or spin or speed. Have them write them down, or you can record them. For vocabulary, explain that the word spaceship is a compound word because it's made by putting 2 words together to form a new word. Ask them to find other compound words. Tell them that you'll say some words. If they can think of another word to add to create a compound word, they should raise their hand. Again, you can see where it's set up for classroom teaching, but this works just fine for homeschool. So door, mail, stop, firefoot, they give you ideas here. Fluency, use a red crayon to underline the words in the poem that rhyme with say. Use these words to indicate a phrase mark or a place to pause when reading. Ask students to echo read the poem in pairs. During echo reading, one student echoes the other student, mimicking intonation and phrasing. After students complete the reading, have students switch roles. Comprehension, tell students that a good strategy to remember what they just read is to look back at the text. And then ask students to complete the activity by looking back at the poem to answer the questions. So here there are questions about the poem for comprehension. And then over here, again, the word building, words that end with a, with oi, without, and words about outer space, and then filling in the sentence with the word bank. So this second page is always pretty much the same from level 2 and level 3, but then the other page offers some different concepts and activities. Smelly feet, I'm sure that one will be laughed at. So I hope this was a helpful look inside this book and to see if one of these levels might be a good fit for you and your students. Remember that real life is messy and beautiful, and better with books. So these workbooks, I always start with so. Okay, we'll start with a different word, huh, Timber? So here's the neat workbook. What are they, activity books? I don't know. What would I call these? And I've really liked these enough that it was worth to share to you. So, to share with you. Blech. Poems for reading building skills. That's hilarious. Okay, for just a fun, I don't need to say that. Got this used, so somebody else was using that. All right.